I'm Josh Mueller, and today we're going to talk about using paring knives. So there's two main types of paring knives that you can use. One would be longer blades, or ones that have more square blades. Those are made for cutting on the cutting board. Then there's two other types of paring knives that are made more for use in the air. There's really multiple different types of paring knives that you can use. You can use paring knives for garnishing. You can use them for preparing fruits and vegetables. There's a lot of different things that you can do. We're going to talk about some of the common things that most people would want to do with their paring knives. Let's start with your shorter, more traditional paring knives. One would be a bird's beak paring knife that has a curve to the blade. The other would be a traditional paring knife, like what you've probably used most of your life or what your mom taught you to use as you were growing up in the kitchen. So with small, short paring knives, the things you can do are simple things like it's as easy as cutting the tops off of your vegetables, like radishes or carrots, cucumbers, zucchini, squash, stuff like that. I'm going to show you something a little bit cool that you can do, like with a curved bird's beak paring knife. I like using it for cutting the tops off of strawberries. And then if you're making something decorative, you can take it and make very thin slices without cutting all the way through the strawberry. Leave a little bit left on the bottom so you don't cut all the way through. And then you can just take that and fan it out into a nice strawberry fan and use it as a nice decorative piece on something like a cheesecake, for example, or some sort of dessert or breakfast that you're making. If you do that all the way around your cheesecake, fill it in with some whipped cream, you've got something nice to present to your family. So another thing that you can do with your paring knife is something on bananas. You can cut the top off, then peel your banana, and then you can cut it in thin slices like this if you want little discs, or you can cut down through the banana and do like a grid. And then now you've got a nice cubed banana right there, just like that. Small, tiny pieces that you can throw in your cereal, things like oatmeal, or other things like that. Now let's talk about paring knives that you would use on the cutting board. When you're using a paring knife on the board, you want to use a paring knife that's going to stay sharper longer. And that will be either a longer paring knife like this, or a paring knife that has a square Santoku shape to it. I like the Santoku paring knives because when you cut on the board with them, only the very point of the blade touches the board, which means as you drag it back and forth across the board, it's going to stay sharper longer because you're not dragging the whole blade back and forth across the board. So these are great little paring knives because what you can do with them is you can do some really great detail work with them. Like you can stick the point into the celery here and cut through it. And then if you want to add a nice texture to a salad, you go back through and now you've got a nice little dice. So if you're just doing something really quick for breakfast or lunch and maybe you don't want to get out your chopping knife, you can take a paring knife and get the same thing accomplished really quickly. Or on something like an apple, the longer paring knife works great because you can cut straight down through the apple and you don't really have to drag it across the board a lot as you would with a smaller paring knife, which would dull the smaller paring knife a lot faster. You just use your longer paring knife to cut through and cut around the core of the apple. And you're never really having to drag it across the board.